love working with the team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied.
To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this live web stream. We are in Ottawa at the beautiful UPI facilities to attend the Canadian Ultimate Championship Junior Division. We'll have the great privilege of attend the games in the Women Division, a crossover game. My name is Etienne Fournier, and don't worry, I will not be alone. I will have the great privilege of sharing the mic with the world-famous rock star, Chantal Dussault. Chantal, thanks again for being here.
It's my pleasure, Etienne.
So Chantal, can you present us the two teams and what is at stake here today?
Yes, we see on the screen we have Nitro and Wicked West. So Wicked West is in purple, and they are from Ottawa. They have a lot of supporters here because we are in Ottawa right now. And Wicked West was ranked. They came into this tournament, they were seeded number 10th. But last year, they won silver. So Wicked West, purple team, won silver last year. Could be a big upset because they're the ones coming from a lower pool. And they're playing against the white team, Nitro. Nitro came in 8th at last year's CUC 2023. But coming into this tournament, they were ranked 6th at CUC. So they were part of that top pool. You know how they rank the top 8 teams in those two sort of power pools. And this is a crossover game. So players and teams that had been ranked 9 or lower, they have that one chance to cross into the top tier. And that's what Wicked West wants to do. Wicked West wants to edge their way back up in the top 10, in the top 8 positions. But Nitro wants to keep their spot in the top 8 positions. Nitro in white.
So Nitro and West. West will be wearing the dark jerseys, while Nitro will be wearing the white jerseys.
Something that's interesting is both these teams come from very deep Ultimate Frisbee communities. So Wicked West coming from Ottawa and Nitro coming from Vancouver. Well-established programs in both of these cities. So in Vancouver, there's the Prime Ultimate program, and that program has a series of teams. And so Dino being the top team, Nitro is the second top team. That's the team we're seeing today. And then they have Turbo, their third team, who's not here. Similarly, Ottawa has Wicked West, that is their top team, playing against Vancouver's second team. And then Ottawa has Wicked East and Wicked Ruby. Three tiers for both cities for junior women's ultimate.
So Nitro having lost all their 3 games so far, while Wicked West have won all of their 3 games. So looking forward for an exciting confrontation, a typical West Coast, East Coast.
Yes,
Well, can
that
you say
too.
Ottawa is East Coast? I guess it's Easter.
You could
more
say that, yeah.
east
Yeah.
Than Vancouver, obviously.
Yes.
It's all perspective at this point, geographical perspective.
I think the thing to note from this introduction is that Wicked West in purple wants to claw their way into the top 8 spots. But right now that spot is being held by Nitro in white. And that's the outcome of this game, because whoever wins this game gets to play into a quarterfinal. Whoever loses this game starts to play games that will decide if they're 9th or 16th.
So, who will go back home today with a ticket for the quarterfinal? That's what we'll attend in the upcoming 85 minutes, which is the time limit for this game. Zone defense to kick things off by Nitro. Wicked starting this game on offense. Almost trap, resetting. Ton of energy coming out from the sidelines from Nitro. They define themselves as a very strong offense team, but also a very loud team, and we love loud teams.
Some good handling skills by Wicked West right now. Very patient and controlled handling to get around that zone.
And it's a little windy here today in Ottawa. There's kind of gusts of winds coming from the, I'd say, the kind of the bottom end of your screen towards the top left end of your screen. It's coming in gusts, so might have an impact on the outplay here today. Oh, miscued for the dump reset, providing Nitro their first break opportunity in the first point.
We witnessed some good depth there from Wicked West. It didn't feel like there were many weak handlers on that line at all. So looking forward to a strong handling game.
And that's what you want with the zone defense. You want the opponent team to do a ton of passes, and you know, the statistics don't lie. 1 pass out of 10 will be a turnover. So just force the other team to do a ton of pass, and odds are you will get the disc back. But unfortunate, miscued by Nitro.
Yes,
and
and
a
it
long
passed.
attempt, but just a little too long.
And overhead like that, it's very difficult to read what way it's going. So just a little bit overhead to pass.
West centering the disc, going on the left side of the field. Nice little dish to earn some extra yardage. Great disc movement, great handling skills so far. We've seen a few handlers so far. Nice long pass, but well read by number 22 from Nitro, Olivia Atkinson. Great defense.
Good long defense by Olivia Atkinson, who had anticipated that throw and held the position in order to knock that out of the way from her offensive check.
It was well defended, but it was a great pass.
It
Not
was.
a bad decision.
Nope.
There was an open player, but the defendant won that battle, and it's that's what Ultimate is all about, winning your small battles. Miscued by Nitro number 33, Betsy Yee. Just couldn't get a grip on that disc, which just literally rolled out of her hand.
Just off the tips of her fingers.
Number 4, Moffat will put the disc back into play, feeding Mooder. Midfield, number 20, Brooks, with the disc going sideways to Dickey.
Yes.
And here's the point by West, the first point of the game. They started on offense, so it's an offense hold. West taking a 1-point lead early in the game versus Nitro.
Yes, I believe that was number 73, Becky Mooder, who caught that. And I am struck by the quality of the handling. This is, remember here, this is a juniors team, so they are not yet 19 years old, so 18 and under. And the quality of that handling, the quality of the decision making was second to none in this game so far for that first score by West.
And on the West roster, there is one player that played with Team Canada. She's wearing number 20, Quai Brooks.
There was also Becky Mutter, who just did this this catch in the end zone now. She was part of the development team for Team Canada. So she was on the development roster. So Team Canada identifies up-and-coming athletes, and they invite them to practice with them. And number 73 on West, Becky Mutter, was part of Team Canada. Well, there was also another player on West who was part of Team Netherlands, because she has that double nationality. So that's number 3, Peyton Dickey. So great experience playing at Worlds.
International talent here in Ottawa for this Canadian Ultimate Championship Junior Division. Turnover in favor of West. Midfield break opportunity for West. Pushing the disc, but it will be caught out of bound. Not a bad execution, just maybe a little more angle. This would have done the job, but it's Nitro putting the disc back into play at their own goal line. Emily Yi with the disc, dishing it to her teammate. Losing a couple of yards, but no struggle. Oh, that's a player. She was not the intended receiver, but Liu saving the day. Disc is floating near the end zone, but well intercepted by Peyton Dickey.
Yes, that was good field presence by Kayla Liu, number 11. Oh,
what an amazing grab!
Catch.
Second effort by number 20, I believe.
Coy Brooks.
Atkinson Brooks.
We were just saying, she's the one who was on Team Canada.
What a great focus. But unfortunate miscued by West. So Nitro will have another opportunity for their O-line to redeem and score their first point of the game. Wang with the disc. Now it's Yi. Fitting, what a nice up the line cut with a ton of pressure on defense. But Benson keeping the disc alive. Nice up the line by Barola, but going long. And oh, there was some body contact. There is some hands in the air by Lee, claiming that she was foul.
And while they work that through, Etienne, let's just talk a little bit about Benson. She's a rock star handler on Nitro. You know, they really rely on her for sort of that reliable handler who can always not only handle the disc, but quite obviously save it, as she did just there. What an amazing layout catch close to the end zone with a defender on her back. So Benson, a strong handler, we'll probably seeing a lot more of her.
So if you're less familiar with the sport, you see the person with the orange jerseys. It's not a referee, it's an observer, so people are responsible to self-officiate the game. But in instance where there's a disagreement, they can reach out to the observers who will rule out. The observers are passive on foul call and on travel calls, but they are active on the line. So they will confirm if this was caught within the line, the zone or not, just like they're doing when they're raising both of their hands up in the air. That confirms the point, which indeed is what Nitro just did, tying the game to 1 in this crossover game.
Yes, and we saw it was 88 who made the pass, but I couldn't see who the receiver was because she's very long hair and it's hiding her number. So maybe it's number 8. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, good point by Nitro. And a good choice by Emily Yi there to go break side. She had an early option. She was standing on the sideline and she had to make that throw into the end zone, the red zone as we call it, because it can get quite nerve-wracking when you want to make that point. Emily Yi had looked at her open side, so that's the side that's not being marked by someone. So on her open side, which was her right-hand side, there were some options, but they were not as good as what she saw on the left-hand side, which is the break side. And she put up a very nice break side throw to her teammate.
So Chantal, we were talking about the red zones. Maybe those are less familiar with the sport again. If you know American football, the red zone is the 20 yards before the end zone. And the challenge when you get into the red zone is you have 14 players within 40-yard-ish of the field instead of having the full field to get some space. And ultimate frisbee is all about creating space and managing space. So
That's a good
the
point.
nearer you get to the end zone, the less space you have to work with, and that's why we all the teams develop great skills in ensuring they're converting their possession when they are in the red zone. In the meantime, Nitro is back with their zone defense. West moving the disc on the left, going back and forth, having time to try this zone out or to find some hole, create some holes to put the disc above or behind the zone. Now they're stuck along the sideline, going with a floaty disc. That will be an aerial battle, which is defended by the Nitro defender number 13, Sunny Sue. Break opportunity for Nitro. Horizontal stack by the white jerseys. Oh, but just out of reach of the intended receiver, which is number 22, Atkinson. So redemption opportunity for Wicked. Number 52 putting it long, Kennedy, and it's going in the end zone, and it's being caught by Peyton Dickey. Wow, what a pass by Kennedy to reach out for Dickey for West. Second point, giving themselves a short 1 point lead, 2-1 early in this crossover game.
So we saw some good action there by Peyton Dickey, number 3, and she's the one who played on the Netherlands team at the Worlds Championship. So Worlds was a championship held in the UK, in Birmingham, UK, and it just ended. It occurred between July 21st and 27th of 2024, and Canada sent 3 teams, a mixed team, an open team, and a women's team. And because she has double nationality, she played with Team Netherlands.
And
so
we just had a short display of our talent with that long backhand reaching out to her teammate. So nice. I mean, she received that pass, but Kennedy initially made that pass.
So teams trading points so far. Etienne, I'm not sensing that there's necessarily a dominant team so far. I think that some strategies have worked better. I think that so far the West handling has been a little bit more solid.
More crisp, to your point.
Yeah, more crisp, a little bit more assured. But the Nitro zone, I think, is working its charm. So let's see how long that lasts.
That's what you do when you play a zone. Number 24, Benson, putting the disc back into play.
Wicked West electing to play person-to-person defense.
Chan to Benson. Now it's Yi. Will act like a quarterback of this Nitro squad. Flicking it to number 35, Krzyzewski, but it's just out of reach. Break opportunity for West. Midfield. Harvey will put the disc back into play. Horizontal stack by the dark jerseys. They are moving, going long. It's floating, and it's being caught by number 13, Charlie Boulanger, confirmed by the observers. West scoring their 3rd point, taking a 2-point lead. The first break point of this crossover game.
Yes, what a fantastic catch, and especially keeping it in. And it could have been 13, it could have been 73, Becky Mutter. Etienne, the 1s and the 7s on these jerseys look somewhat similar. So we'll have to, please at home, if you see this and you can tell us on the stream, let us know. But it was nonetheless another point by West, which makes it now 3-1 for West.
First break point.
And they went into sort of this horizontal offense, and what that means is that they are lined up on a line that's aligned with the entry point of the end zone, a little bit like they are now, but of course further away from the end zone. And they all had sort of their lanes to cut in and out of. And from just an athletics perspective, it seems like they could do enough cuts and get open and make the plays happen.
Absolutely.
So I wonder if, and then I mean, I don't think that Nitro had much of a chance to put on his own because they were too close to the end zone. But I wonder if Nitro will be favoring putting on zones moving forward, considering that person to person so far, Wicked West seems to have gone off on top.
Great pulling by West, setting their own zone defense against Nitro O-line. Nitro going long, just seems to be a little trigger happy, but they are confirming this pass and quickly making this game a 1-point game. How many passes were done? Like 4 or 5 within like half a second, it seems like. Nonetheless, Nitro trailing by only 1 point.
Exactly, and that was a good catch by number 4 on Nitro. That's Isabella Chen, sorry. So Isabella Chen laying her body down to make sure that that catch would land right in her abdomen, you know, and securing it with her arm. It's almost like maybe she played football before or something.
Maybe it's kind of a football-ish catch. I agree with you.
Yes, Isabella Chen, the football-ish catchy player. So, and then good job on her because then she got up and had sort of that presence to just pick the right target with the red cap, and I'm still trying to figure out the number on the Nitro player that caught that beautiful throw into the end zone.
And Chantal, if you allow me, that's something we often say at the end of our web stream. I'd like to say it right now to make sure everybody hears it. A big kudo to all the coaching staff and all the parents that are supporting their kids to play Ultimate and to attend this national championship. What a great experience it is for those women, young women and young men to travel with their teammates, play hard for 3 days. That's a 3-day tournament. That's something that most of these players are not used to. They're usually used to 2-day tournament.
And it could even be a 4-day tournament if you're part of that opening ceremony on the Sunday. So it runs from Sunday to Wednesday, the entire juniors tournament. So all players are here for 4 days because they have to land on the Sunday, attend the opening ceremony, opening match, and then 3 days of intense competition.
Nitro back with their zone defense, not leaving much room for West Handler to move upward, which indeed they are now doing. While I was saying they were not moving that much, and they just had me lie once again. West with a floaty disc, opening some space. Moffat with the disc.
Nitro has melted to a person-to-person defense.
Nice floating disc, and it's unfortunately dropped. There was a ton of pressure on defense there, and the intended receiver could not close her hand on this disc.
Yes,
so
that was number 3, Dickie Payton, and we know that she can hang on to those.
Nitro with the break opportunity at their own goal line. Number 14, Grace Paley, going flick, finding her teammate just about at the brick mark heights. Now it's 57, Chang, going around a mark. Nice reading in the air by number 33, Bestie Yi. Looking for a quick reset. Once again, Chang with the disc, quarterbacking this Nitro break opportunity. Paley with the disc. Oh, unfortunately, number 23, Millen, could not get a hold on this disc. So West will have an offense redemption opportunity. Giving some in cuts, but the disc just running away. Nice reading by number 3, Moffat, just continuing her race and quickly dishing it to number 20, Brooke, for West, 4th point. And that's an offense hold by the dark jerseys, leading by 2 in this crossover game.
Yes, West leading by 2. Nitro was making good progress with that disc. I mean, they were stuck in the coffin corner just here on our right-hand side. But the left-handed handler, Grace Paley, had the disc, and she was able to just put that out of there and start to thread the disc around there was an unfortunate drop. Nothing major, but at this level, it's just the one small drop that the other team is going to use to grab possession and score.
Small details can make a difference in the output of this game. So far, West leading by 2 with 1 break point. West have started this first half on offense.
Both teams have experienced players on their teams, as is usual for junior rosters. When the team players become a certain age, when they turn 18, 19, they move on to senior level. So at every year, every competition, there are a whole bunch of new players. And of course, that's happened on both of these teams. On Nitro, there's a good mix between who's returning and who's left before. But on Wicked, there have been 13 people who graduated last year. So 13 new players on their team this year. This is Wicked, who's in purple on the screen. But still, they've got good depth of handling, and they're doing quite well so far.
Floaty disc, but just out of reach of Kayla Liu. West with a break opportunity. They will have to put the disc back into play. Trap on the sideline quickly, finding some room, but there was some miscommunication, granting the disc back to Nitro. Emily Yi feeding Barola about 7 yards away from the goal line. Tons of traffic in front of Barola. Time is running out. She's just dishing it to Yi, which put it back into play to Barola. Nice pass and run by Jana Barola, providing Nitro their 3rd point of the game, making once again this game a 1-point game.
This game is very tight, and Emily Yi has really been a great player and just a chill factor close to the end zone. She's number 88. When she gets the disc, you're sure that the decision she's going to make is a sound decision, and she found number 0, Jana Barola, out in the end zone for that score. And while we're on numbers and scores, I did find the red cap who scored the previous point for Nitro, who caught that. That was number 3, Dora Chen. So both teams really trading points at this point. No major differences in strategy or no major advantage being given by anything like, strength of handling or a type of zone that the other team can't get through. So at this point, and for the length of this game that it's going to be and the weather, it's very hot out there today. It's probably 30 degrees on the field. It's going to come down to perseverance and grit. And that's where sometimes experience will come into play if some of these players have played other tournaments before or they've played in other teams. But luckily in both of these regions, Ottawa and Vancouver, they have that experience. They have that grit. They have that perseverance. So there's no surprise that this is a tight game.
West receiving Nitro's pull. That lands about at the brick mark. Flicking it on the open side. Number 20, Brooks, with the disc. Finding her teammate along the sideline, Dickey. Still along that thin corridor. Was that caught in? It seems it was in. Moffat, 7 yards away from the goal line. Another flick along the sideline. Oh, just a little too far away from her teammate. Nitro will put the disc back into play at their own goal line. About 70 yards away from potentially their first break point of the game.
And we've
Nitro, kind of as an isolation.
This is Paley, their left-handed handler.
Floaty this time was running out, but it's caught and intercepted by Kennedy. Quickly moving it to Brooks. Brooks putting the disc back into play to number 70. Was it Muder? I think it's number 73, Muder. Providing West their 5th point, taking back a 2-point lead in this crossover. Who will attend quarterfinal? That's with what is at stake in this game.
So one of the fantastic plays just on this point was the catch that number 20, Coy Brooks, did right before she caught that assist. So it sounds like a catch that's not very difficult, but that's because she's on Team Canada, Etienne. So something that looks trivial for her was actually quite a difficult throw. It was up in the air, it was a little bit behind her, she had to jump for it, made it look easy, and then chose the right destination in number 75, I believe it was. We're not exactly sure who that was. And that caught 73.
Mutter,
maybe it was Mutter. Yeah, sorry about that on the stream. We're really doing the best we can to spot these numbers.
So to your point, Chantal, it almost looked like a walk in the park. Just chasing this disc, catching it, and I think she had almost a smile in her face. I suspect she was smiling because, hey, I'm catching the disc in the end zone. I'm at the Canadian Ultimate Championship Junior Division.
Yeah, they were
and
smiling.
I'm playing a crossover game.
They're smiling
we're leading
because
by 2 now.
exactly. That's what I was going to say.
I would smile if I
would
were
smile
her.
too. You want to get as much leverage as you can.
Nitro at the brick mark. Smooth little flick by Barola to Yi. Yi looking for some options, flicking it. Kind of a low pass, but great catch by her teammate. Number 11, Liu, which unfortunately miscued with Barola. Turnover for West. Mutter will put the disc back into play. Kind of a horizontal stack by West. Maybe they were anticipating a zone defense, but no, it's a one-to-one defense right now. Disc a little too far. Nitro with a no-line redemption opportunity stuck on the left-hand side, about 10 yards away from the goal line. Some movement going around the mark, putting the disc in the air. Well, it was a tough disc to catch and to read. Quickly West putting it back into play at their own goal line in the middle.
There was a player that had come out of the end of the stack, but by that time the handler was looking elsewhere.
23 catching the disc. I think it's 29, Cousineau. West moving the disc quickly, not allowing the Nitro defense to sep. They have switched to a one-to-one defense instead of a zone defense. The long attempt was intercepted by Nitro, which is countering a strike right now with the disc. Oh, there was a ton of pressure on this one, but Benson hangs on, securing this possession. Nitro started this point on offense. A push pass. Lebor seems like she was running out of time, but there was some contact. At least that's the claim of Jana Barola. Foul call. Some discussion.
So while they discuss this, Etienne, you know how I was saying there's not much difference between the two teams. I'm starting to see a pattern of a difference between the two teams. It's very slight, but when Nitro has the disc, the surface area that they occupy on the field is smaller. They're not taking the full width of the field. They're not taking as long on the field. When Wicked West have the disc, they're much wider on the field and they go a little bit deeper. And that might just be because of the strength of their handlers on Wicked West, so they feel that they can go that wide and that far. But I'm sensing that that makes a difference in the number of options and the flow of the play.
That is one great observation, Chantal. So Benson just running out of time. The disc was put back into play at stall. It was a contested stall down. So you have like a second and a half to make your decisions. You say, I'm going to go long to Yi, but Yi couldn't hang on to it. So turnover in favor of West along the home sideline, moving the disc sideways, creating some space. Nitro defending. They started this point on offense. Nice little flick, floating, finding Rosenblum midfield, about 5 yards away from the break mark. Oh, just a little too low. Great attempt by the West player, but she seems to have injured herself.
It sounds like she
holding her belly. I don't know.
Landed a little bit on her leg, which might have twisted her hip or something along those lines. But again, just as we wait to see how that player is going, I think that we did see over the last few passes some long yardage gains by Wicked West. So their passes are a bit longer. in terms of gains, yardage gains. And I think that might be what differentiates the two teams, and maybe that's what's going to make the difference in the outcome of this game. As you would say, if I had a loonie,
If you had a loonie.
and I could bet on something that's going to make the difference in this game, up to now, this is what I've seen that would make a difference. So we're clapping, and the player has walked off the field, so that's good news.
On her own, which is always good news. So there was a substitution, and when there's a injury substitution for one team, the other team can also substitute one player, which I believe Nitro haven't substitute anyone in this instance. In the meantime, one-to-one defense by West. Time is running out again for Yi, dishing it Barola in order to get another 10 seconds to create something happen. Nice catch by Nitro right on the brick mark. Still the West one-to-one defense is quite suffocating so far. Great grab by number 5, Kelly Wang. Benson going long, just whipping that disc away, and it's caught by number 4, Isabella Chen, and converted. Well, there was a call waiting. No, it's being confirmed by the observers. Nitro hangs on, scoring their 4th point of the game. Offense is being held.
This was really Isabella Chen's point. She's number 4 on the white team, Etienne. And before she scored this, because she's the one who threw the winning, the pass here in the end zone, before she threw that, she had made that amazing catch, which I sometimes call the scorpion catch, because it's when they lay out and their feet almost come to touch their heads, And that's the kind of layout that she did right here in the middle of the field. And then was she like, oh, I'm just going to rest a little bit? No, Etienne. She goes all the way to the end zone, catches that very long throw, which was a little bit blady, a little bit on the side, focuses, catches that, and then picks the right target and scores. So good job to Isabella Chen for that wonderful presence on that point. And that brings the score 5 for West to 4 to Nitro, which is a very tight game. It really is anybody's game at this point.
So the game is intended to be played for 85 minutes. My apologies, unless one of the two teams reaches the 15-point mark.
And I don't think we will be reaching this mark, because the points are long, because both of these teams are playing well against each other.
West on the receiving end of the pool. Nice pass and nice catch by Boulanger. Midfield, great disc movement again by West. Mooder with the disc zone defense again by Nitro, but transitioning now to a one-to-one defense. Kennedy again. Kennedy on the right hand side. Kind of a vertical stack attacking the line by number 75, but going reset on Moffat. Still great disc movement. And here's the completion, which was a flawless execution by West O-line, granting themselves with a 6th point and taking back a 2-point lead in this crossover game, which will allow the winning team to play in for a top 8 and potentially a semifinal. Who knows?
And I believe that was number 75 who caught that, Etienne. And I don't think we have 75 on our sheet. So maybe we can get number 75 from West. We don't have that on our sheet. So if someone can grab her name, we will be updating you on that. She caught the 6th point for West. And it was number 20, her well-known teammate Brooks, who played on Team Canada, who made that assist throw. And Brooks had given good options, because it almost felt to me like West was in trouble at that point. Just before they scored that, they were on the sideline here. It didn't seem like they had a lot of options. Nitro was doing a good job containing the play, but then they broke through that and were able to score.
Canadian Ultimate Championship Junior Division, which is kind of the first half of this week-long Canadian Ultimate Championship. So the juniors have kicked things off on Sunday with the opening ceremonies and one game that was played on Sunday evening. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are all about juniors, and effective as of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it will be the senior division who will compete to define who will be the women and open division champion of 2024. Great flow by Nitro. Unfortunately, this was a little too out of reach from number 4, Isabella Chen. Well, what a game is she having?
Yes. And a beautiful put by number 27, I believe it was.
Going long, floaty disc, and it's blocked. Number 12 from West, Vivian Harvey, was waiting for it, but what a great hustling on defense by number 27, Caitlin Chan. Barola with the disc, looking for some option. Was that disc partially blocked? I believe so. Now, was it cut before it touched ground? Some discussion occurring right now, but yes, quickly resolved. It was caught up the ground. Barola kneeling in order to find Yi on her right-hand side. Yi, kind of a horizontal stack, but Barola gives a nice up-the-line cut, but there was some bumping, and the two players, the good thing is there was no arm done in that bumping. The two players from Nitro running into one another. West back in possession. Watson.
Great
nice
grab.
Vertical grab by West. Wow. How did she do that, Shana? I'm not sure.
I think it's with the Spidey hands.
Number 11, Kira Watson. In the meantime, Nitro taking the disc back to West. Nitro wearing the white jerseys. Benson. Benson acting as one of the key handler for the Nitro squad. It seems like Benson is, from our perspective, is probably the tallest player on the Nitro roster. And Barola is probably the shortest one. So the tallest and the shortest one acting as quarterback for this O-line. In the meantime, Yi going long. Disc is floating. And it's being caught by number 5, Kelly Wang. Even though there was 2 defenders there, but there is some foul call with the observers standing by. What will be the output of that? I think from our perspective, which is never the best perspective, Chantal, we also say that, but we never have the best perspective. It seems like it was a clean cut, which was confirmed by the observers. So Nitro scoring their 5th point again, hanging on to 1 point versus West, still leading by 6-5.
And it's good that Emily Yi decided to put up that long throw, and Kelly Huang, number 5, was there waiting for it. So were some of the Wicked West defenders, but Huang came down with it. And the reason it's good that Emily Yi put that up is that it's going to help them do the in cuts. Now that they've got some long throw and some long action, maybe that's going to ease up the defense, because the defense is going to think, oh, okay, maybe I need to also cover the back and the long, and so maybe the Nitro players are going to have more options to go in. So good on Emily Yi and number 5, Kelly Huang, on catching that. Since we're discussing players, I need to mention that the last 2 West scores have been caught by number 75, Lily Su Ping. So unfortunately, we didn't have her on our sheet, which is why we didn't think it was possible it could be number 75, because on our sheets there was no number 75. If it's
not on the sheet, it does not exist.
But we have an amazing crew, and Clay went down and confirmed that 75 is Lily Su Ping, who got the last 2 West points. So it feels like there's a timeout that's been called here at the end. I didn't see the actual mime or the sign of it. So which team called this timeout?
I believe it's Nitro.
So
but
Nitro,
I might be wrong. Maybe
Nitro
it's
just scored.
Nonetheless, team have timeouts, and we're moving towards the end of the first half. So, you know, you have timeouts. Might as well use them.
Might as
You know,
well
just
use
to
them.
refocus, just taking a sip of water. It's a quite very, very warm condition here in Ottawa. Beautiful weather, I should say,
Yes.
to play Ultimate.
And the last few points, you know, ever since it was 3-2, it's been West Nitro, West Nitro, West Nitro, West Nitro. So maybe now Nitro, maybe they took the time out and said, we want to do another Nitro.
Well, who knows? That would be a great story to tell.
Or maybe
Let's
West.
Nitro this point out.
That's right. So Nitro in white, a team from Vancouver, and Wicked West in purple, representing Ottawa.
So Chantal, even though there were like many turnovers from both of the teams, there was only one break point scored so far, and it was by West. Actually, their third point of the game was a break point. In the meantime, Nitro, even though they had many opportunities of scoring a break point, were not able to complete it. So I'm sure they are looking to it right now, kind of a split stack formation to kick things off in this Wicked, or this West possession, I should say. Number 20, Brooks, with the disc, flicking it to her teammate. Number 3, Dickey, right in the middle of the field. Reset on the right-hand side. I think it's Watson. Disc is floating, still alive, but no, lands on the ground. Nitro with a break opportunity. Will they be able to take advantage of it? That's what we'll find out in the upcoming seconds. Paley dishing it to Barola. Low release by Barola, but just too low for number 23, Millen. West back in offense at the brick mark, going open side. Boulanger resetting it to Kennedy. Kennedy on the open side. Dickey making herself a great target. She's 4 yards away from the point, but chooses to go on the reset. There was too much traffic in front of her. Nice line attacking. Kennedy going to reset, but it was partially blocked by number 7, Stephanie Day, which led to this turnover. Nitro with a break opportunity.
We saw a good example of the red zone there, where there was a lot of people, but not a lot of open space to make that long throw or short throw in the end zone.
Barola seems to have dished the disc past the 10-second, the 10 stall. That's actually what number 73, Mooder, is claiming. So we'll reach out to the observers to rule out. Barola says, I believe I did my pass before the 10 stall. So discussion around. So it was ruled as a stall count. Turnover for West. For those who are less familiar with the sport, players have 10 seconds, 10 stall to attempt a pass. Otherwise, it will be a turnover, as we just witnessed. Number 13, Boulanger with the disc. Great flick to Dickey, and Dickey, another flick. And is it confirmed? Waiting for the officials. It seems like there was a pick call by Barola. I think it's Mooder who is holding the disc right now. Some discussion so far. Again, for those who are less familiar with the sport, you cannot be a victim of obstruction or from a block or a pick in Ultimate, even though if it's one of your teammates, you have to call it. So that's what I believe happened here. Barola was kind of a block or pick by her own teammate, Grace Pelly. They were both defending the disc. So observers will be asked to rule this out, as we see the West coach walking around, taking some deep breathing right now. I think he kind of more likely disagree with the discussion that are going on right now.
So
let me guess. I'm pretty sure he thinks that there was no pick call.
We
What do you
don't
think,
know.
Chantal?
We don't know what he thinks. We don't know
You're
what
right,
he thinks.
We don't know what he thinks.
But what we do know is that if West scores this, it's going to continue the pattern of West Nitro, because Nitro scored the previous point. So that would be, if they were just exchanging points, this would be a West point, so a purple point to be had.
We started
But
this point with West on offense. And Clay, which is part of our trio of commentator for this weekend, says, I know exactly what the coach is thinking right now.
well, it's too bad Clay's not on the microphone.
He doesn't have the mic, so we're not going to hear it.
So it was a point.
And it's confirmed. There you go. There's a happy coach. So West scoring their 7-point. Guess what, Chantal? Once again, it's a 2-point game. And we are late into this first half. So whoever reaches the 8-point mark, or after 45 minutes of play, so more likely we will play another point and we'll take the half break after this one. Yes, Nitro players are setting up.
So far, both teams have been showing tenacity and athleticism, and we've seen good long throws. A little bit more of long throws and long game by West, but I think Nitro is starting to try some of those, to try to extend some of their long. We saw that on their latest point, the point before this one. Nitro was trying to extend that playing field. And I think that's what's making the very small difference at this point, because these 2 points, I mean, we've seen other teams that have been able to do, come back after half and do 5 points in a row. Bang, 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 bang. So this is still very much anybody's game. And it's being played on some very small, discs coming off the fingers and overthrows and discs caught in the wind. Not any major mistakes so far, it's in.
And if I speculate, if Nitro scores, they will be trailing 6-7, and they will enter the second half on offense. So if they score at the beginning of the second half, they can potentially tie the game to 7. So just to express from another perspective how
close this game is. Yes.
It is.
Brooks,
But
great
now
catch up in the air.
West is threatening to take a 3-point lead with this great execution. Muder with the disc in the red zone, flicking it to number 12, Harvey. On the goal line, Harvey squeezed, not much room, but she's going reset. Was that partially blocked? Yeah, I believe it was. Nonetheless, turnover by Nitro, going long, completing that pass. What a great transition by Nitro. Yi just wicking that disc away long, great flick. Now it's Chan. Just missing her pass, but well blocked by Suping. Again, West wanting to put an end to this first half and just throwing it long, but it falls a few inches out of bounds.
Just a few inches.
Maybe even a few feet.
And the wind is now blowing from the bottom of
Absolutely.
your screen to the top of your screen. So this throw, getting out of that end zone, getting out of that sideline is the difficult sideline.
Liu with the disc.
As we saw,
that
wind was
great
helpful
focus.
in this case.
Yes.
It kept the disc up.
It was blocked, partially blocked. It's still back into Nitro's hands of the number 27, Caitlin Chan. Miscued a little too far away, and once again I suspect the wind just put it out of reach. West going long again. It's a Hawk Fest. Incomplete.
Not sure what the rationale was behind that long throw, Etienne. Maybe they're trying to play closer to their scoring end zone. Wasn't clear to me that the offense had a real target on that throw, so.
Looking at the coach reaction, I'm not sure that's the plan. I'm pretty sure it is not.
Maybe the players are tired. This has been a long point.
That's where the mental strength kicks in. You're tired. The point is long. You want to win that half. And that's where it gets a mental game. Nitro at their own goal line, stuck. Chang with the disc, going sideways. Nitro earning some yardage, but having to reset. But unfortunate drop by number 57, Chang. West with an opportunity to put an end to this first half, which they are doing in a great way by number 73, Mooder, putting an end to this first half. West scoring not only their 8th point, but their second break point of the game. Nitro were not able to score any break point so far.
Yes,
wow.
this
Chantal,
was number
first half.
Well,
We
this
have a
was
10
number
so far.
75, Lily Suping, who's been instrumental during this first half, throwing to Rebecca Mooder, number 73. Both have had a lot of great plays, and as you said, this brings West an 8-5 advantage, and that's a big difference going into half.
That's a big point that West have just scored. So it's halftime. We'll take a short break, but stay tuned. We will have some great action. So Desmond, our friend, will be doing some live interview to entertain you during this halftime. So stay tuned. Now for me and Chantal, we'll take a short break and be right back.
And welcome back, everybody, to the live stream. I'm Desmond Thomas here with Lily Suping, one of the captains for Wicked West, and as the broadcasters were saying a few moments ago, has been instrumental in this half. A bit of back and forth action to start off the game, but you guys really ran away with it in the last few points, and you were a big part of it. Talk a little bit about your team's gameplay as a whole.
I mean, we've been working really hard throughout this season. We had a lot of changes this season, and we've come out hungry at this Nationals. I mean, there's more we want to prove to people, and even more there's stuff we want to prove to ourselves. So.
Yeah, you guys got the first point, but it was a little back and forth. But you guys were switching a little bit man to zone. They were throwing on the zone a little bit, and you guys were going from 2 handlers to 3 handlers, seeing a little bit more of the 3 handler action with the zone. Do you guys like to play with 2 or 3 handlers more throughout in a game, or does that switch based on what the defense is?
It really depends on what the defense is. I have to say, yeah, the 3-person set is our the most used, and even sometimes we're lucky enough we have enough hybrid players to play 4 handlers back if needed in a zone, especially when it's windy. It's nice to have that extra help back there.
Yeah, have you been finding the wind to be a bit of a factor today?
A little bit. I mean, we started the day and yesterday off in the trees, so a little bit less wind. And then coming onto here, we ran our warm-up in the wind, made sure we were playing and warm up the way we wanted to play in the game, and got used to it.
And you guys, you're talking about those 3 handlers, and when the other team was playing the zone on you guys, you were definitely trusting your handlers a lot to move it around and to go for those deep shots throughout that first half. Do you have a lot of trust in your handlers? How much do you rely on them to keep the ball rolling or keep the disc moving?
I would say a lot. I trust, as a handler myself, I trust all of our handlers completely. I know they're going to be there for me, and I know we all have different shots that are easier for certain people to make, and we know that, so we get it to where that person needs it to be to make the break through the zone.
Totally. And just the last one, we were watching your warm-ups at the start of the game, and then your cheer. I don't think I've seen a longer cheer to kick off a game, but I also don't think I've seen a better one. Was that Hit Me With Your Best Shot that you guys were singing?
It was the riff-off from Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
And it started last year. It carried us through Nats last year, and then we've taken it with us this season, and it really gets us hyped and ready for the game.
Well, it looks like it's doing the trick, at least for this first half, and we'll wish you the best of luck in the second half and the rest of the tournament. Thank you so much for coming up here, sprinting over and doing the interview, Lily.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
We are back for this second half of this crossover game, Women's Division Canadian Ultimate Championship Juniors, where West is now leading 8-5 against Nitro from British Columbia, West being based out of Ontario.
And the action...
Chantal, we mentioned that how important was that last point by West to finish the first half? Not only was there, was it a point, but it was a second break point. So taking a 3-point lead for the first time of the game.
That's right. And most of the game, the two teams have been trading points. So it's been West is making a point, then Nitro, West, Nitro. And just at the end there, West made a second point in a row. And that had not happened since the beginning of the game. And so just them catching up, well, it had happened, sorry, after their second point. So they did their second point and their third point back-to-back. But that was the only point up to then that were back-to-back points. So both teams showing similar athleticism, similar handling, with potentially Wicked West being just a tad more comfortable with their handlers, which means that they can take just a little bit more room on the field, which gives them a little bit more space to do options. It's a hypothesis at this point. Let's see if this holds in the second half. It's still very much anybody's game.
One thing's for sure is West is now pulling to Nitro, which will kick off the second half on offense. And they need to score because they're now trailing by 3. This game is intended to end in about 27 minutes or so. So Nitro now on the doorstep of their 6th point of the game. Number 4, Chen with the disc. There's a ton of traffic around her, but fortunately, number 27, Chen, comes and help her. Nice pass and run by Chen, and she confirms Nitro's 6th point to kick things off in this second half. No turnover for Nitro in this possession, which is what exactly what they needed to close the gap.
It is. I was just saying, maybe their handling's... No, their handling is just fine, Etienne. It is just fine. They're in a second half of a very tight game, and their head was into this. Their mental performance was on track to be able to, risk that long throw. We have to mention again Isabella Chen with that fantastic long catch. It was a bit of a bladey throw that was coming in, and she caught that, and she made the right choice of who to pass it on to, very close to the end zone, and then they were able to score. So it was number 11 for this white Nitro team, so Kayla Liu, to number 27, Caitlin Chan.
And Chantal, we had this big debate. Is it the men's division or the women's division who has the best cheer?
Well,
we ran a very scientifically run survey.
Yes, of our observations.
Was, no doubt, the women's have better cheers than men.
Women often have these sort of dancing, singing, cheers, very energizing. And men, I was watching a match yesterday with Clay. We both were with Clay, our co-host. And the men, there was this one team, their cheer is, we scored. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In the meantime, miscued by West with Nitro going for hunting down their first break point, but great block, great reading by Dickey, blocking this long pass with her 2 long arms. Zone defense by Nitro. Moffat with the disc, going with a reset to Kennedy. Kennedy, great pivot work. Finds a reset in Boulanger, but there's
a
one
Nitro player down.
I think she had a cramp.
Yes.
Which is kind of something you can expect in those warm conditions. You gotta make sure you're fully hydrated.
Hydration and electrolytes make a big difference for cramps. Maybe it's something else for this player, but just in general, since let's just discuss, good nutrition while we wait for this player to recover, and we wish her all the best. Very, very important to include electrolytes. So, things like magnesium in your nutrients while you're in a multi-day tournament with a lot of sun, a lot of sweating. It's going to make a difference on the cramping of the muscles. Though I had looked into the studies on this, Etienne, and I could not find a study that specifically said, you know, for example, magnesium is good for it. But for some of my teammates and myself, that has worked. So whatever works for you, you know, make sure you get a lot of water, a lot of electrolytes, and good nutrition.
So can I translate magnesium by banana? Is that what you're That's well, my recipe. Water,
personally,
banana,
I buy magnesium, you know, at the pharmacy, but whatever works for you.
Whatever works.
Whatever works.
I will learn from.
And disclaimer: I am not a doctor. I'm not telling you to get magnesium. Do you? But yeah.
Substitution on the nitros, and the player is still getting stretched. Hopefully, no.
We've got the physio coming
major
on.
Harms done, but she's being assisted by the medical staff of this Canadian Ultimate Championship, which we'd like to thank. Also, they're doing an amazing job with all the therapists, making sure everybody's safe and well healed during this tournament. Great anticipation by number 23, Atkinson. She's just running long to give herself another target, and she goes in, chasing this disc. Nitro hunting down their first break point of the game. They've scored the first point of the second half, making this game a 2-point game. If they break, would make it a 1-point game. Barola with the disc, and here it is! Nitro scoring not only their 7th point, but their first break point of the game, making this game a 1-point game. Wow.
So this has been a point for Olivia Atkinson. So not only did she anticipate that throw and create the defense, she got the catch in the end zone. So number 22, Olivia Atkinson. And it's funny because when we asked the coaches before this game on the white team, on Nitro's Vancouver team, we'd said, you know, who are some of your players that you'd like to highlight? And they said, you're probably going to see Olivia Atkinson. She has amazing defense, and she can really anticipate the play. And what did we just see at a critical moment for Nitro? Olivia Atkinson doing that defense and then catching that great pass from Jana Barola, number 00. So it is 7 now for Nitro and 8 for West. Just a 1-point difference in the second half of the game that's going to determine whether that team is in the top 8 or the bracket for 9 to 16. And there's not that much time left on our timer here because there will be a soft cap that will be called. Soft cap, when the buzzer rings for soft cap, we add 1 to the score. And then we play to that. And so right now it is 1:34 in the East.
About 21 minutes remaining to the game. So about 11 minutes to the soft
11
cap.
Minutes to soft cap. It could be anybody's
Tons of
game.
time
Could
to
be
play
anybody's
good ultimate,
game.
But still, clock is ticking right now. West is in the driver's seat. They will be starting this point on offense. Nitro, great grab by number 13, Boulanger, one-hand grab. Great disc movement by the dark jerseys. Brooks looking for an option. Will wisely decide to reset. Don't have anything upward. You go back in order to better attack Suping, which gave a great interview at a halftime with our friend Desmond. But now it's a turnover in favor of Nitro. You with the disc. 1-to-1 defense with a little poach on the open side by number 20, Brooks. Going long distance, just on the line, observers are saying. But the quick dish, Nitro make this game a tie game at 8, confirmed by the observers, having scoring all 3 points so far of this second half. Wow, what a turnover. Nitro is on fire right now.
And they are making me eat my words, Etienne, because I was saying, oh, Nitro, you know, they don't play long so much. What have they done lately?
They say we're going to have Chantal eat her world.
And I'm happy about it because I'm happy to see this team come through. So Nitro has been playing the top seed, the top pools, and they've had sort of a tough tournament so far. They've struggled mentally, but they're a strong team, and so even though they've lost all their games, they're coming into this game and they want to be in the quarterfinals, and so they know they're a strong team. And I'm glad to see them pull this out and make this a tied game. They can do it, and they're proving it here. And so, not surprisingly, a timeout called by Wicked West. What do you think their coaches are saying to them here, Etienne?
Well, more likely, hey, let's take a long, deep breath in and breathe out. We got this, girl. They're just having a great moment right now, but we got this. We just need to take smart decision when we have the disc and play our stuff. That's what we've been doing, and we led up until a few seconds ago. So we can do this. We got this. We got the depth, and we know that all of the players really trust one another.
And Wicked West in purple, they're the Ottawa team. They have a lot of supporters here, so they can feel that sort of strong presence. And they have a very strong offense. They really do. So they're coming from a pool where they won all of their previous games in this tournament. And, you know, they were expecting to continue that ascension. So there's a different sort of experience for both of these teams at this tournament so far coming into this game. And that's why it's a crossover. It's literally that. You know, maybe it'll cross or maybe they both go back in the pool they came from. And it could come out to a universe game at this point because it's still a tied game.
And the West motto is doing it for each other. Just do it for each other. Hang in there, girls. And while we hear Nitro, they say they were loud on the sideline. Well, indeed, they are very loud, very cheerful. Great ambiance here at UPI. Zone defense by Nitro. And that long pass attempt is blocked by number 22, Atkinson. Another break opportunity for Nitro. It all has been about Nitro in the second half so far, with less than 17 minutes to go on the clock. Nitro stuck on the sideline. Barola opening herself up for a reset. Some poachy defense by West. What a nice low release to break the mark by Barola. Nice layout. It was blocked, but it was a foul call. That was a tight call. And indeed, we don't have the best perspective. It was a spectacular action.
It was a spectacular defense. This just goes to show how much both teams want this, to be putting out that level of defense and to really lay out for it, because the stakes are high for this game. And so it's not surprised at all to be seeing, you know, a layout. I think that both teams probably called their best players on the field, you know, the players that were really feeling it and were present and felt on, and they know the responsibility that's on their shoulders. They must feel it.
So it was ruled that it's a contested foul. It will go back. Sometimes the observers just don't have the best perspective, and they say, okay, well, we're just going to go back, no arms done, and just reset and play on. Miscued by Nitro. West countering back with the disc just on the edge of the red zone. Souping, faking it, but holding it back. The left handler, just great pivot work, just dishes it to her teammates 5 yards away from their first point of the second half, but no, the disc is too low. Nitro will take the disc back into play at their own goal line, 70 yards away, with what can potentially be their fourth consecutive point of the second half after trailing by 3 points at the end of the first half. Nitro, there is some tension on the field. Barola, great one-hand grab. With Paley now moving upward, disc is in the air, a little too high, even though number 21 Millen, great attempt to save that disc, but West is getting it back. Moffat looking for a clean cut. Great anticipation by the Nitro defender. Hole going back, fire The long plays on his, just pulled out of reach by the wind. Number 23 was a clean cutter long Sage Millen, but unfortunate turnover by Nitro. West with another opportunity to secure that offense hold.
Both teams having put on their top rosters here. We're seeing an uncharacteristic number of a high number of turnovers, because the pressure is higher. The defense is good on both sides, and both teams really want to push this through. So they're trying some throws that, you know, maybe the chance of success for that throw isn't 100%, but they're at that level now where they really want this, so they're pushing.
Nitro with clock ticking. We are tied at 8. Disc is down. West with another opportunity to redeem on their O-line.
That was probably a high stall count there, and she had to find somewhere to swing that.
That's a marathon point. We have seen a couple of these in the first half, but in the second half, it all has been about Nitro. Disc is high, disc is floating, and disc is being blocked once again by Nitro defender.
An important defense, because if that had scored, that would have made these are all very important moves, important defense. So Nitro electing to do sort of a
great
interception
by Suping on the goal line, looking for a point, and here she goes, finding number 13, but there was a call. Boulanger catching the disc. Was it a stall down? It seems like it was late in the stall. Not sure if it was a stall down, but there was a foul call.
Or a pick.
Or a
it's
pick.
Not clear.
Not
so something was
sure.
called that Nitro feels prevented them from playing fairly, so they're calling it and they're going to discuss it. And that's how Ultimate works. And luckily in this game we have observers, so if both teams want the observer to call it, the observer will. If the observer makes the call, the observer will touch their shoulders first, indicating that the observer is making the call for both teams. And then that call needs to be upheld by both teams and respected by both teams. So now they're still discussing it. Both observers not being asked to make that call. If it's taking too long, the observers can step in and say, listen, it's taking too long. I'm going to step in and decide what happens with this. That's part of the rules.
And Chantal, we're only less
That
than 2
is
minutes. So that's
a goal.
Confirmed. Wow, what an important goal for West.
So that was number 75, Lily Suping, to her teammate number 13, Charlie Boulanger.
They're putting an end on the 3 consecutive point scored by Nitro to kick things off in this second half. So West with a short 1-point lead, and we are nearby the soft cap. So
yes.
How it happens, Chantal, can you tell us what's happening with the soft cap?
Right, so when we hear the signal for the soft cap, we're going to get a new target for the end points of the game. So right now, the score is 8-9. So say we were to get the signal now, we would add 1 to the top score. So now the top score being 9, it would be a game to 10. So anybody can still win it, but it's a game 2, just 1 higher than the top score, which means that the team that's in advance in terms of points has an advantage because all they have to do is score the 1 point. However, this game is so close that making 2 points in a row has happened for both teams. So the 1 little point that West has in front of Nitro does not mean that they secured this game already.
So if West scored, they will have a 2-point lead, so a definite edge on this game. But if Nitro ties it to 9, I guess we'll be in a universal mode afterward. Chan with the disc. Here we just heard the horn blows, announcing that after this point it will be soft cat, so we'll take the higher point, add 1, and whoever reaches that score will win the game and earn themselves a ticket to the quarter final. Whoever loses this game will have to fight for the 9th position. Benson asking for some support, but great anticipation by West, blocking this disc away. ton of cheering on the sideline from both of these very loud squad so far. West on the left hand side at their own brick mark, moving upward. Dickey with the disc, flicking it to Watson. Watson, great grab, but oh, what a ton of pressure on defense. Once again, Muter proving to be very effective as a cutter. Going long for West. Disc is in the air, but just out of reach of number 3, Dickey. There was 3 white jerseys defending, but Nitro's answers back is to put it long, but it lands on the ground. West will take it back midfield.
Both teams having their chance to score so far, and 2 to 3 turnovers.
Watson. Oh, unfortunate drop by number 29, Cousineau. Counter by Nitro. Liu with the disc. Nitro moving upward, but now decides to reset. Benson, what a game is she having, acting as one of the quarterback of this Nitro squad. Oh, juggling with the disc, but it lands on the ground, so West will have another opportunity to score. Watson finding Harvey, crossing the midfield, going long. Dickey pulls it, and oh, just a little too low for number 73, Muter.
There's just enough wind, Etienne, that pushed that disc just a little bit short of what the thrower intended. And Nitro is calling for a timeout.
Barola calling the timeout at her own goal line. Well, there was opportunity for both teams to score this point. And just checking the clock. Yes, you've heard it. The horn announcing the soft cap. So we'll be finishing this point, and we'll take the higher score.
Yes.
We'll add 1, and whoever reaches that score will win the game. So if West scores, it will be a game to 11. If Nitro scores, it will be a game to 10, universal.
It'll be a universe point.
Would that be your second game that would end as a universal today, Chantal?
Yes, so the previous game that we just did, just before this game, was the quarterfinals access game for the men, so the open teams. So it was very similar to this situation where both teams wanted to have access to the top 8 and potentially the finals, and it ended in a universe point. So all of your your chances at a medal, your chances of being one of the top 8 teams comes down to the 1 point. So much pressure. And let's just again state that these players are 18 or under, and that's a lot of pressure to be at these nationals, and honestly to be streamed on the web. That's a lot of pressure.
And speaking of our next assignment, it will be at 2:30 Ottawa time, where Titan from Montreal will face off Elias
from BC.
British Columbia. So that will be at 2:30. In the meantime, Barola flicking it, but oh, well defended by Cousineau, redeeming herself after dropping that disc a couple of seconds ago. West in a great position to score their 10-point and take a serious lead on this game. That's a Blady backhand, and it's caught. Was that caught in or out? That was caught out, was it? Yes, it was caught out. The observers were just a few meters away. So unfortunate turnover for West. Nitro with another opportunity. Benson going long. She was running out of options, so she decided, hey, I'm going to put it long. Make West life as difficult as I can.
Looking forward to seeing what sort of formation West comes out with here. Looks like a horizontal offense, trying to give some diagonal cuts from that horizontal offense. And a little bit of vertical at the back of the stack. Moving into a vertical formation, which is usually what happens, right? We start with a certain formation, and move into more of a vertical formation later on in the play.
Watson was running out of option. That's her time now. There was no open cut, so she decided to throw it long. There was some discussion, potentially some calls, but no calls on this last turnover. Benson with this vertical stack. The players are tired. The players are stressed. Benson going long again, but since there was no intended receiver out there, there was at least a miscommunication. Watson, her again, will put the disc back into play. Kind of a blurrish stack in front of her. Tons of people running. But now it's Mutter making herself open. Nice pass to Harvey along the sideline, trying to center it, but miscued. The Nitro with one more opportunity of tying this game to 9.
Harvey taking a minute to go, yeah, this throw didn't come out like I thought it would come out. And that happens sometimes when we just really want it and we put a little oomph on it. Doesn't exactly come out like we want.
Oh, was that partially blocked? But nonetheless, Barola sliding, laying out to save the day. Barola with a nice flick, but just a little too long for Chen, who did her best to chase it down, but fell short.
Barola also, I was going to say, Barola also licking up, going, oh, that's not what I wanted to throw. So I think there's going to be a mental game at this point.
It seems it was a one-hand grab by Mutter. Foul call, not contested.
Good spirit.
Mutter's disc. Working in the corridor along the sideline. Watson, her again, finding White. White putting it in the space. Mutter catching it. We know there was a ton of pressure from Barola. Going long. Oh, miscued. Number 99 was the intended receiver, but just felt short. Just little. She was coming on the right-hand side while the disc was going long. So Benson, once again, will put the disc back into play at her own goal line. Looking for option. The athletes are tired. This has been more likely the longest point of this crossover game so far.
An amazing
nice
catch.
Grab by number 4, Isabella Chen. What a game that she had so far. And it's not over. We're 2 minutes away from the hard cap. So hard cap, we finish the point. And then whoever has the highest score wins.
So West will try to do this again. And as we said before, they have the handlers, but do they have the handlers who have the grit and the experience of doing this when you're tired? So that's two separate things, right? Doing this when you're throwing relaxed, and now they're tired. It's been a long point. There's a lot on the line.
Chasing it down, Mutter, but it's blocked by Barola. Oh, she might have saved the day. Barola. Mutter was in a great position, but great defensive hustling by Barola.
That was a floater. Never know what can happen with floaters. And the wind is high enough that that will happen now. The wind is coming from the right-hand side to the left-hand side of the screen.
Going around the mark, but falls on the ground.
Probably pushed down by the wind. That had a good angle. You could see that it was not a flat disc.
With the disc, dishing it to Watson. Watson right in the middle at the brick mark. West threatening right now while we hear the horn blows, signaling the hard cap. 2 yards away. Cousineau with the disc. West is threatening, but she just, the disc slipped out of her hand. She cannot believe it. Benson going long, and it's completed. A 50-yard long pass, still in the air, but it's blocked and denied by number 71, if I'm not mistaken, White.
There was a call.
There was a call. There was a call. Was that on this action or previous one? No, it was on this action. Wow. What a tight hand of games. We just heard the hard cap, so we were finishing the point. If Nitro scores, we have a tie game, Chantal. But we cannot have a tie game. We'll have to play an extra point.
That's right. If West wins this point, West wins the crossover game, which means they have access to the top 8 games. And so this is critical for West to win this point. But we don't even know if they have possession at this point because the players are still discussing. And so right now the score is 9 for West, 8 for Nitro. West representing Ottawa, which is a little bit funny considering Nitro's in the West.
It's an odd name, I would say, for an Ottawa-based name. Well, you know, it can be west of Halifax.
And here we go. West has possession.
Wow, what a stressful end of game. Those two times hunting their quarterfinal ticket. Chen will put the disc back into play at the brick mark. Barola, her again with the disc. Great little flick, reaching out to Liu. Liu putting it in the air, and it's blocked! Another end zone block.
Denied.
This time by West. Wow.
There was, I thought this was it. I thought that was the point for Nitro.
I thought it was it also, but hey, West said no, it's not over. We're still fighting for this quarterfinal ticket. Great disc movement. Tons of pressure on defense. Cousineau in the air. Catching that disc. West is in motion. Disc is floating, but it's blocked by Benson at her own goal line.
Number 24, Emmy Benson.
There was no call, but the two teams are just plain exhausted after this marathon punt, which I believe has lasted for over almost 25 minutes. Long pass completed. Chen saving the disc, flicking it to Liu, earning some precious yardage. Benson chasing it down, but it's Barola going up the line. 10 yards away from a potential point, but it's too low of a release. Sadly, oh, Barola, I love the way she just bends her knees to do a low release, but this one was a little too low. Need a little more angle up.
Yes, and sometimes when we really want something, some of those throws, you know, when we're very excited about them, it can be a little bit harder to do the execution.
The players are exhausted.
Good catch.
Going long once again by West. This one is ignited by Dickey, and it's completed. Cousineau putting it in the end zone, but just out of reach, unfortunately, from Rebecca Muder.
And I think both teams have adopted the idea that they should throw it long to make sure that the play happens close to the end zone where they want to score. It's clear that there's a little bit of that huck and D mentality happening, which is not necessarily a bad thing given how tired everyone is. You know, mistakes can happen a little bit faster, so throwing it far from the end zone is not necessarily a bad thing.
The sidelines are going crazy. The players are exhausted. The coaches have lost their voice, and we're only midway through this national championship. What a game those two teams have offered us so far. A ton of action. This endless point, which has seen so many opportunities for both teams to score, but no one was able to pin it down.
Nitro had some real opportunities there. They had real targets they were aiming for. They were doing throws. See this, I'm not sure who the target is on that throw. Doesn't necessarily matter. The throw goes closer to the end zone where they're trying to score. But I think Nitro is, I was going to say, I think they're really aiming for targets. But
once again, great block by number 11, Kira Watson. No one is giving up.
The girls are exhausted, Etienne. we can see that the execution level is just not what it was at the beginning of this game. And remember, these are their power lines, right? These are their top players that they've put out here to finish this game off. So
the cutting becomes more and more difficult. The focus on the throw. Benson, or it's Barola putting it along, finding Chan. And here it is! Nitro, was that? We're waiting for the confirmation of the officials. Yes! Nitro making this game a tie game at 9 after what has been the longest point for sure of this game, maybe of this tournament so far. Wow!
So that was number 27, Caitlin Chan, handing it to her teammate number 11, Kayla Liu. So what a marathon point, and now it leads us into a universe situation. So the outcome of their 2024 CUCs completely solely relying on this next point. Etienne, how do you choose the roster? How do you choose what team members you select to go on that line?
Your 7 best players, as you mentioned, are totally the empty the tank.
Yes, they were running on fumes already.
They have no legs. They are burned. So what do? Well, that's why, you just go trust your teammates.
It could be that it had not been their 7 players, because honestly, that point was so long that maybe the coaches had not, selected the utmost final power line. And as we're saying here on the West lineup, we have Brooks. So she is the Team Canada player, so definitely one of their power line members, and she's on now. And I don't think she was on the play before. So clearly,
I don't think so either.
Clearly,
you're right, Chantal.
Right. So they had saved some of their players on the bench, which is a good thing, because this is where they're going to need them. This is the universe point. CU as in ultimate, U as in universal point. So whoever scored the next point will get their tickets to this national championship quarterfinal. And it means so much to each of these teams. This is the thing, right? I mean, Wicked West, being from Ottawa, they're representing the region. It would mean so much to them to be in this pool where they feel they belong, right? I mean, they're the second team in all of Ontario. So they came in second at CUC 2023. So Wicked West belongs in this pool, and they want to represent their region. Nitro wants to fight for the spot that they had, and this means a lot to them to be in the top 8 teams. So it's just both teams really want this. I personally wish it to both of them, so I'm just excited to see how this plays out.
West with the disc, zone defense play by Nitro. Boulanger flicking it back to Moffat, stuck on the sideline, making sure there's no double team. Quickly resolved. Centering the disc, souping with the disc, going on the right hand side. Loud cheering from the Nitro sideline. Who will move to the quarterfinal? We are tied at 9. Next point gives you a quarterfinal spot. If you don't score, you will be fighting for the 9th position.
Nitro applying a zone that Wicked West is having a little bit of trouble getting across.
Nice pass. There was a small window, but the West handler was able to reach out to it. Kennedy, great pivot work, puts it to Boulanger. Find the hole in Nitro's wall. Moving upward, Mooder with the disc to Souping. Midfield, still Nitro hangs on their zone defense.
Nope.
Going back for a few yardage. Still midfield, going along the sideline. West entering the red zone. Less than 20 yards away from a potential ticket to the quarterfinal of this national championship. Kennedy giving some direction, putting it. West is scoring, and it is confirmed by the observers. Wow, West from Ottawa earning a ticket to the quarterfinal after defeating by a score of 10-9 on Universal against Nitro from BC in what has been a astonishing game. Chantal,
astonishing
help
game.
Me. I'm speechless right
this
now.
last point, we really saw the strength of the Wicked West's handling. It was surgical. It was of clinical precision. I loved it. They didn't even seem nervous, Etienne. They just worked that disc through, and when it was the time, they put it up and it was caught. There was no turnover. What an amazing show of handling aptitudes by the Wicked West to win this. But Nitro did not make it easy on them. Nitro trying to, stick with that top position that they had been seated in. But the crossover will have served its purpose. And Wicked West, who had won their pool, coming from a lower pool, will have access now to the top 8 teams and go to the quarterfinals, and Nitro will go to figure out where they sit between 9 and 16.
Well, if it was grit and fighting spirit that defined if you access to quarterfinal, those two teams would be in the quarterfinal, but unfortunately, it's the scoreboard that decides who moves on. So congratulations to West from Ottawa, and also congratulations to Nitro from BC for an amazing showcase here at National Championship. Our next assignment is in about 20 minutes from now, where Titan in the open division from Montreal face off against Elias from BC. Chantal, once again, it was a pleasure to call this game with you. Thanks to Desmond also on the camera, and to all the Ultimate Canada staff. We'll talk in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned for more Ultimate Junior action here at UPI Ottawa. Cheers.
Cheers.